return of David Benavidez, the two-time WBC super middleweight champion of the world. We're taking on Romer Angulo. David joins us now. Champ, good to see you once again. And hey, look, let me start with this because it seems like long-awaited return. Adjust has been the key word, it seems like, for you, because initially you had an opponent, he got injured. Then you had Angulo, supposed to fight in April. All of a sudden, pandemic hits, and when the pandemic hits the States, Seattle is really the first epicenter that this thing, when it came here, which is where in Washington State, where you train now. So what has it been like preparing for your return, considering that this virus first started there in that Seattle area and was raging there? Has been tough sparring and just trying to stay healthy?
First of all, I just want to, thank everybody for putting all this together. I'm very excited to come back. We've been out of the ring for like almost about a year. I think my last fight was in September. So I'm just excited to be back in the mix again, being back on the Showtime podcast or broadcast. It was a little difficult getting this camp started because, obviously Seattle was the epicenter of the pandemic, but so the number one key we had to do was, just stay home, stay safe, train at the right times. Now that we got the fight in August 15, we brought a couple guys from different cities, so everybody's been tested, everything has been good. I'm in my dad's gym, so we could train whenever we want. So we've been having a great training camp so far, and now it's just, getting to the date, getting there smooth, everything being perfect, and, just getting in the fight.
You're such an exciting fighter. I think that's probably why you have so many fans. You throw those hands, and you've always said, hey, I'm a guy who feeds off the crowd. So what do you expect, man? It's going to be different for you, champ, to be back in the ring and no fans in attendance.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate right now. But, I think what matters most is the safety and the protection of the people. But, it's going to be the same thing, like the Charlo said, you kind of get tunnel vision when you're in the ring. But, my main goal right now is to give the fans at home the best possible fight I could possibly give them. Romer Angulo, he has a nice record. He has a lot of knockouts. I have a lot of knockouts, so it's going to be fireworks all night.
Yeah, so talk to us about what kind of fight should we expect, because he's a guy that comes forward. What do you expect on August 15th?
I'm expecting him to come forward. This is his second world title fight. So I think he's here to make a statement. I know he's taking this fight very serious. But I want these tough fights, I want these brawls, I want these barn burners, you know what I mean? I want to give the fans, I want to give the fans at home, what is it called? Like you're stuck to the TV and you can't move from it. That's what type of fight I want to give them, and I feel like that's what type of fight it's gonna be. Like I said, it's gonna, you don't want to blink because this fight is gonna end in a knockout.
I know there's a number of fans in Phoenix who, you were supposed to have a homecoming fight. Now you'll be fighting in Connecticut. What do you want to say to those people in Phoenix who were very excited, but I guess they're going to have to wait a while for you?
Yeah, it was very unfortunate that had to happen, but I just feel like, the time's going to come, just relax a little bit, maybe in my next year we could get a fight in Phoenix, a homecoming fight. But, right now, like I said, everybody's safety is what's most important right now. So we'll get there with time. But, right now we're just going to have to enjoy the fights from home.
And before I let the media have at you, champ, talk to me about Angulo. You've talked about Angulo, the type of fight you expect to be a knockout. What do you see as the future for David Benavidez at 168 after August 15th?
Well, my main goal is to get to Caleb Plant. That's the fight I want the most. I feel like that's the fight the fans want the most. Since we're in the same promotion company, it's fairly easy. I was hoping to get that fight by the end of this year, but seeing the pandemic, it kind of messed up a lot of things. So, I want to get, I'm not looking past Romer Angulo. He looks like a great fighter. He looks like a strong fighter. So I want to get that fight. I want to get past this fight. And then hopefully by the beginning of next year, we can get to Caleb Plant.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. Chris de Blasio, I know there's members of the media have got a number of questions for the champ. Let's give them the opportunity.
Thank you, Brian. And hello, David. We're going to first start with Steven Espinoza. He'd like to add a comment here about this exciting card and David's fight. Stephen?
Well, we're obviously thrilled to have David back on Showtime. He is, without question, one of the most exciting, young fighters in boxing. Skilled, exciting, charismatic. Someone that that to the extent that you haven't seen him fight, I think you're in for a treat. But again, on this particular card, we can't just focus on the main event. You've got two really compelling co-features here. Speaking of someone who's exciting to watch, Rolando Romero, clearly fits that bill. If you haven't seen him, make sure to tune in. He is one of the most exciting young fighters as well. Younger than David, but fireworks, very entertaining fighter. And then the opening bout, two high quality heavyweight fights will match up. In this case, two heavyweights who both suffered from and eventually recovered from COVID. Both Otto and the entire Kaufman family. Not just Travis, but his young child, his wife, his father. Thankfully, I think they've all recovered. But it's three intriguing fights there, headed by the return of David Benavidez at Showtime. This is, another one top to bottom, a really high quality event.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stephen. Our first question is going to be from Gerardo Arencibia. I hope I pronounced that right. Gerardo, your line is open.
Hello. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, hi. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say it's great to see that everybody's back doing something that resembles work. It's a good thing. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see you guys. David, congratulations on the upcoming fight. This is actually more of a question. Well, it's a question for the fighter, but if Stephen Espinoza wanted to join in and give his take on it, I don't know if you can. I'd like to hear his take. There's been a lot recently that's being made of fighters' purses. And some fighters saying, listen, they understand the I guess the math behind it. Some fighters not so much. We've got promoters that are kind of pushing in the direction towards maybe paying fighters less. Is this something, and in fairness, I've only got to ask one PBC fighter, and this PBC fighter is Vito Mielnicki Jr. told me no, that he doesn't expect to see any cut in his purse. Are you expecting this? Have you heard any of this? And do you think, if you haven't, do you think that this is that fighters are right to feel that this is unfair?
I mean, definitely, when somebody their pay gets cut, some people always think it's not fair, but my contract has stayed the same. Everything in my, deal has stayed the same with this fight, the next fight. But if I have to take a pay cut, then I will take a pay cut. That's up to my managers and my promoters, and we could definitely come to an agreement. You know what I mean? But as of everything, I feel like my fights. I give the best fights I could possibly give. They're very exciting, for the fans, whether they're at home or they're live. So I feel like everything should stay the same with me. But if we had to come to an agreement, we could definitely come to an agreement.
Okay. The next question I want to ask you, recently on your social media, you posted an interesting picture. It caused a bit of an uproar, I feel. I don't know if I have to describe it to you, but it's David Benavidez sitting on a throne. And for brevity's sake, everybody else bowing down. Yeah.
Well, that's definitely that's where the point I want to get in my boxing career, where everybody has to bow down to me. I feel like I'm the best fighter, 168 at super middleweight. I'm just not getting the fights that I want. You know what I mean? And of course, everybody's gonna get mad. All the fans are gonna get mad, this and that. But I didn't come to this weight division. I didn't come into boxing, just to say another person is better than me. Obviously, my mentality is that I'm always gonna be the best, even if I haven't got the fights yet. I'm always going to be the best because I train like a world champ. I am a world champion. And I train like a world champion, and that's always going to be my mentality. I don't care if somebody gets mad because they think that because I said I'm the best. That's how I'm always going to think. And if somebody's mad and they want to prove me wrong, then come prove me wrong, and that's what it is.
Okay, and the last question I'll ask you. I realize that this is I'm excited to see Showtime back in the game, but I watched some boxing yesterday. There was a middleweight at 168 pounds, super middleweight, 168 pounds. Edgar Berlanga did his thing last night. What are your thoughts on that? And I'll be honest, I saw a few comments on Twitter, the Puerto Rican-Mexico rivalry, Benavidez, Berlanga, maybe in the future. What are your thoughts on Berlanga?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Maybe he did his thing. Shout out to him. He had a great victory last night. But I don't even. Has there ever been a fight at 168 of Puerto Rico versus Mexico? That's what I'm just thinking right now. So that could definitely be a great rivalry down the line. Just let him prove himself, and then I'll be more than happy to fight him. When the time is right. I'm here to fight the best of the best. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Gerardo. We're going to go now to Norm Fraunheim. Norm, if you unmute yourself, your line should be open.
Yeah, I got you, Chris. How you doing?
Great.
Hey, David,
Very
how
good,
are
thank
you?
Doing good, and yourself?
Good, good. You mentioned Phoenix. I know it's been a while since I can't even remember the last time you fought here. If you could go back and tell me how important it is to reconnect with the Phoenix fans. I know a lot have been made of that April fight. And when was it finally decided that you would not fight in Phoenix against Angulo?
Well, I was supposed to fight. What was it April something? I don't remember
Right.
really remember what it
Yeah.
was, but I think it was about 4 weeks before that they made the decision to cancel the whole card. And that's when
Right.
the pandemic really hit. But I've been wanting to go back to Phoenix. I told myself the last time I fight in Phoenix that when I went back, I was gonna go back a world champion. So it
Mhm.
really meant a lot to me. Going back. And unfortunately it didn't happen. But it's for the best. I wouldn't feel right if the fight would have happened and then there would have been, a lot
Right.
of people getting affected and at my fight. So I feel like, the time will come. The time will come soon enough. I just feel like everything needs to cool down a little bit more. But I'm definitely, I'm barely 23 years old, so I still definitely have a lot of time to, no matter how long this pandemic takes, I'll definitely be back in Phoenix fighting in front of my crowd, in front of my people, and I just want to tell everybody to relax and it'll happen soon.
Let me ask you about this. Over the last several weeks, you have been linked as a possibility to fight Canelo in September. How real was that?
I think everybody's a possibility right now. I seen he gave Jason Quigley, an offer. I think everybody's just sitting back and just watch and seeing what happened. I have the belt. I have a WBC belt at 168. So I'm pretty sure it was very real. But I never got an offer. I just heard.
Never got an offer. It was just okay.
Never got an offer.
You're 23 now. You're still 168. You foresee yourself at light heavyweight here sometime soon?
I think so. But as of right now, there's a lot of great fights at 168. Obviously, like there's Caleb Plant,
Right.
there's Callum Smith, there's Canelo, there's
Right.
Billy Joe Saunders. There's so much great fighters at 168, and there's a lot of great fights to be made. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be here until I make all those fights. I have a long time in this boxing game. I still have about 10, 13 years, in boxing left. So I don't have to move up too quick. I think as soon as I get all these fights and get all the belts I want to get at 168, then it's time to move up to 175. But as of I'm staying at super middleweight right now for a while.
All right. Well, looking forward to your fight, and say hello to your brother Jose.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Norm. Okay, we're going to go to Cameron Buford next. Cameron, you've been waiting patiently through all this. Appreciate your patience. You're open with David now.
Hey guys, thanks for making time for us. Brian, Chris, David. David, I got a question for you. You touched on it a little while ago with Seattle and the Renton area being kind of the pandemic, epicenter of the pandemic. How have you been able to kind of keep your mind clear during this situation, and then just your mind healthy and your body obviously healthy enough to fight? What you been doing during this time?
I just been doing the same thing I always do, in camp, pandemic and no pandemic. I just stay home, come to the gym. My dad has his own gym, so every time I come train, there's nobody here. So, everything has been, pretty much the same. I just try not to go to the store at all no more. Yeah, like I said, we just train, we run, go back home and start the same thing the next day. Everything kind of really stayed the same.
Have you learned anything about yourself through this process, whether it be quarantine or just, I know you spent a lot of time with your brother and your dad already, but have you learned anything about yourself during this time?
Well, yeah, I just been trying to pick up a few father tips because I'm about to be a father on September 5th, so I'm very excited.
Congratulations.
And just getting a little bit more motivation. I mean, I was already extremely motivated as it is, and now that I have my own, my own child coming in the world, I'm just, I'm just at another level motivated right now. I'm just, excited. I know everything I have to do right now, and just I'm just staying ready and just trying to get these fights, man. You know what I mean? I feel like my fans have been waiting for me for a while. Like I said, I haven't fought like in a year. I feel like I bring a lot of value to boxing, especially to PBC. My fights are always exciting, so I feel like the fans have been waiting to see me back, and I'm very excited to come back.
Congratulations, sir. Look forward to seeing you in the ring.
Thank you.
No doubt they're exciting fights. Thank you, Cameron. We're going to go one more question here from Ryan O'Hara. Ryan, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can. Thank you. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right, David, Ryan O'Hara with the Ring Magazine here. Question for you, I'll make this quick. So, obviously you're trying to get the big fights, in your weight class, 168 pounds. How frustrating is that for you? And do you think that it's a matter of, guys not wanting to fight you, or do you think it's more from a business perspective? What's your honest take on that? And, I'd also like to get your thoughts on Caleb Plant. Do you think that would be a competitive fight as well?
Well, to be honest, it's not really that frustrating. It's just that getting back into it. I had just recently won my belt back in September, and I think I would have got these big fights by the end of the year if this pandemic wouldn't have hit. You know what I mean? I was supposed to fight already in April. I probably would have had two fights by now by around this time. So, I think the COVID, it just impacted everything. It's not me that it impacted. It impacted everybody in the world. So everybody has to move, at a slower pace and they're used to moving. I feel like we're on track to get back on there. It was a little frustrating because I feel like I was already, on my way to getting these big fights, but obviously this slowed everything down. But it's probably for the best. So everybody can be safe. Everybody, the whole world needs to recover for this. I don't think we have to just talk about boxing. The whole world has to recover before we can move forward. But yeah, man, like I said, hopefully by next year I could get a fight with Caleb Plant if everything goes good. It's definitely a fight I want. I feel like that's definitely a fight the fans want and boxing, needs in the middleweight division. And he's a great fighter. I'm a great fighter, and I feel like we just need to get this fight going. There's a lot of bad blood there, so I feel like it's a great fight for boxing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, David.